Manhattan, New York, Brooklyn, New York, Miami, West Hollywood, Paris, Hawaii, Aspen, Colorado, Tokyo, London, California, and now Toronto. Kith, originally founded by Ronnie Fike, is expanding their global footprint, and to celebrate the new Toronto store opening, Kith and New Balance, two longtime collaborators, they're dropping 2 new pairs of the New Balance 1700. Now I was lucky enough to get both pairs. I hit on both. One colorway came first. It's actually the colorway that I prefer second. I like both of them. I really like both of them. However, Kith is really making me wait for the one that I wanted the most. But I'll review this shoe first because it came first. Kith New Balance 1700 Toronto Marshmallow. This shoe dropped for $180 first on September 22nd in the Kith Toronto store, and then globally on September 25th. So this is one of 2 Kith Toronto pairs of the New Balance 1700 silhouette. So this colorway, it is referred to as the Marshmallow colorway. The other one is referred to as the Rococo Red. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word, Rococo. I'm not too sure. But out of those 2, I do like the other colorway slightly more. I do like all red shoes. That's really nice. And I did hit on that shoe, but Kith, please ship my shoes out. Why do I still not have my shoes in hand? It's been like 3 weeks. Now, I've never been to Toronto, but I've heard great things. The food, the culture, the city itself, the woman. I've heard Toronto is very talented. Very, very talented, if you know what I mean. So I definitely want to make a trip up there. And the New Balance 1700, it is a silhouette that you don't see a lot of releasing nowadays. If you go on newbalance.com, at least on the United States website, you actually don't even find a 1700 shoe, but it did originally drop in $19.99, so it's not a new silhouette, but for this special occasion, they're dropping 2 pretty rare pairs. And this shoe comes with a red base layer with this white or off-white suede overlays, and the suede on this shoe feels so nice. Really, really nice materials. Feels great. I love the suede on the shoe. It is so smooth, it's not like too hairy. Doesn't feel synthetic. And then on the heel counter, you see 1700 in case you forgot what shoe you're wearing. And then on the booty of the shoe, you see the 2 brands, Kith and New Balance branding. And the texture where that Kith is embroidered on or stitched onto kind of feels like that 3M material. And just like the heel counter, you see 1700 on the tongue as well as New Balance branding. And the materials on the tongue as well as the red base layer, can't really tell exactly what it is. Feels like maybe that matte leather or maybe nubuck. Not entirely too sure, but it feels good. And then on the insole, you also see New Balance as well as Kith branding inside. And the New Balance 1700, it does use New Balance's Absorb cushioning. So if you didn't know, Absorb is essentially New Balance's foam. So it does provide better responsiveness, better cushioning, better compression set. And you'll see 2 references to Absorb on the midsole. One at the front of the shoe, and then another one at the back of the shoe, you'll see Absorb imprinted. I like these little details. And the midsole of the shoe does come in the sail color. Honestly, I think if it was white, it might actually look really nice. Might actually make the shoe pop a little bit more. And one of my favorite things on shoes, gum bottoms, this gum rubber outsole. You'll see it refers to the Absorb cushioning again. So that's 3 mentions of Absorb. New Balance really wants you to know what type of tech specs are in this shoe. The more I age, the more I like gum bottoms. Now this shoe comes with 2 extra set of laces, 1 white set and 1 yellowish sail off-white set. Out of these 3, I think the red laces work just perfectly. I prefer the default red laces. I do really appreciate them giving us more options, but the red out of the box, that's my favorite one. If I had to choose another one, I'd probably choose the white set of laces. I think that'll give this shoe another pop, but yeah, the red one works perfect. And the box of the shoe, pretty standard New Balance box. Nothing too special. I kind of wish they came with a more Canadian-inspired box, but standard box it is. Now moving on to size and comfort, I'm a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet, I went true to size, and it fits perfectly. So regardless of whether you have wide or not wide feet, I do recommend you just sticking true to size. Everything from the length to like the width of the shoe, yeah, just wraps around my feet really well. I found that New Balance shoes generally fit my wide feet pretty well, definitely better than Nike or Jordan shoes, and this shoe, no exception. I find it a very, very comfortable shoe. There's enough padding inside. It's very snug. The ankle collar is like soft and flexible. Not a ton of cushioning around the ankle collar, but nothing that's too thin where it digs into your ankles. And generally the cushioning, I'm a fan of the Absorb technology, the Absorb foam that's used on New Balance shoes. It's also a pretty light shoe, but not so light where I'm like just lifting nothing, feel like I'm wearing socks. I don't love shoes that are so light where I can't feel it. It's not super flat to the ground, but also not so soft where I feel like I'm sinking into my shoes. So I feel like it strikes the right balance, perfect balance for me. Now everyone is different, so everyone prefers a different type of comfort, but for me, this is perfect. So that brings the total sole score of the Kith New Balance 1700 Toronto Marshmallow to 20 out of 25. Now the first metric, colorway. I really like the colorway of the shoe. Just Canadian colors. I've never been to Canada, I'm not Canadian, but I'm a fan of white and red. And when it's that simple, it just works. The sail midsole, even though it's not my favorite, I think it still works well with this kind of off-white, creamy overlays on the upper sole of the shoe. So overall, I really like the colors on the shoe. Now in terms of materials, the suede feels so nice. I really like the suede on this shoe. I find myself really just running my hands on the overlays of the 1700. In terms of comfort, I really think for my feet, they're perfect. Not sure what other people think about their 1700 silhouette comfort-wise, but just speaking from my experience, wearing this shoe, I could definitely wear this like all week, every single day, all week, no problems. The cushioning is just right, fits around my feet perfectly, not too tight, but just tight enough where I feel like I'm supported. Comfort of this shoe, seriously, I wouldn't change a thing. Now in terms of versatility, I think the 1700 silhouette, it still gives off kind of runner shoe vibes, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I don't think it's as much as like the 2002R. I think that's like very running shoe vibe. This one, I think that's kind of in between like casual and running, but I think in terms of the silhouette, it's still pretty versatile, especially in 2023, when this kind of look is really popular. And in terms of the colors, I think it's very easy to wear. White and red, can't really go wrong with that. Now in terms of storytelling, I think they left a little bit on the table. There's some Kith branding on the shoe and Canadian colors obviously to celebrate the Toronto opening of Kith store. However, no special box, no real reference to Toronto apart from the colors. But storytelling lacking a little bit compared to the other metrics like materials and colorway. However, I still really like the shoe and the execution of the shoe overall. I'm usually not a huge New Balance guy, but there are certain silhouettes that just work really well. If I'm being honest, the New Balance 1700 never was on my radar before this release, but I saw images of both this pair and the other colorway, really caught my eye, had to go get these shoes, and honestly the silhouette, I'm a fan. And congratulations to the Kith Toronto opening. I'm a big fan of this shoe, really glad I have these in hand. So that's it, thanks for watching, Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Kith New Balance 1700 Marshmallow. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.